Was I almost sued? For what?
Trauma.
The luxating patella.
Slay.
That's my opinion.
Slay.
We're doing the bone dance. You dance and you learn it again and again.
Divorce papers, I'll hold the paper. Like, whatever it is, like, I am there.
You know, Jason Derulo did this to Jordan Sparks after they dated for 3 years.
Talks of red flags everywhere. We're blind, though. It's fine.
I can't read.
I can't read.
WATF. What are the facts?
Slay.
Ramble.
Pretty basic.
This episode is presented by DoorDash. Use promo code PRETTYBASIC when you download the DoorDash app for 50% off up to a $20 value and 0 delivery fees.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to your favorite podcast that comes out on Wednesdays, every Wednesday on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, Google Play, wherever you listen to your podcasts.
That was so good. We haven't done that in a hot minute.
Do you remember? Was that my thing at the end?
Yeah, because I couldn't
Apple
say
Podcast,
it.
Spotify, Google Play, wherever you listen to your
No,
podcast.
Google Play's not
I
a
know,
thing
but
anymore.
that was it's vintage.
Oh, sorry, I'm still back at then.
It's the archives.
It is vintage.
Hi guys, welcome back to Pretty
Vintage.
Basic. I'm Remy Cruz.
I am Alisha Marie. If you are new to this podcast, let us know. Welcome to the fam. We just had our 4-year anniversary.
Delicious, my God.
I know the ginger lime prebiotic.
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 The Poppy is delicious. I love Poppy.
Not sponsored.
Not
But
sponsored.
please sponsor us, Poppy.
I did actually get sponsored once before. Did you know? Before they like blew up. And I was like, this strawberry lemon is the most delicious thing I've ever tried. I still think I like it more than this. But this one's
really?
good.
I like the ginger one a lot. I like them all, honestly.
They're delicious.
Damn.
Yeah, we just celebrated our 4-year anniversary of this podcast, which is
Insane.
crazy. Because technically then we've been doing it for 5 years, right? Because
be
like
going
you
on
do
our
a year.
5th,
Okay,
right?
yeah. I mean, if you could go back 4 years ago to us recording the first episode, what would you tell little Loshi?
I don't even recognize that person.
Mm-hmm.
I would say go slow. Don't worry about having to edit stuff. Because in my head, I mean, we cut out every, we edited the first podcast episode like a YouTube video.
Yeah.
Also, just for shits and giggles, y'all should listen to the first episode after listening to this just to hear the difference.
Hi guys, welcome to Pretty Basic.
Wait, we should listen.
We should. It's so wild. I was telling someone recently, I think I was at the hair salon. I was just gabbing with the girl next to me. And I was saying,
Sorry, I have to interrupt.
yeah.
I feel like if I didn't know you, I would love to sit next to you at a hair salon. You would be the dream person to sit next to.
I became buds with everyone in the salon. They were so nice. I love the girls that work there. And I was telling them like, oh yeah, my podcast with my best friend, we just hit 4 years. And she was like, oh my God, that was like before podcasts were like big. And I was like, there were obviously podcasts, but we were one of the first YouTubers to do a podcast, which is so cool and crazy. And I'm just so proud of our little baby. If I could go back 4 years, I would tell myself to keep it shut. Don't say so much. Everyone doesn't need to know every detail of your life, but that's okay because we're here now.
Specifically love life.
Yeah, no, that was like kind of embarrassing. Have we ever said what happened in the beginning, in the first couple episodes when I was being tormented?
The potential lawsuit?
No.
Oh.
Was I almost sued? For what?
Well, we were nervous about that dude.
Oh, yes, but no. Like who was listening in the beginning?
No.
4 years in?
Wait.
That was so sad for me.
Can we talk about
Sure.
Wait, guys, this is fucking hilarious. Also, what's funny about it is we were just before we were recording, we were talking about how like, you know, things bring up old feel like when you bring up a story sometimes on a podcast, it can bring up like feelings and then you're like, oh, you're not over stuff. Or like, you know, if I talk about like a friendship breakup, then like it brings all those emotions out sometimes, you know? But so just the irony that we were talking about that, but we have to.
Okay. I mean, you go off because I mean, I fully obviously have moved on from this, but it's one of those things where it's just like whatever. Even if like we get wine at like I don't know why BJ's on a random, we don't go to BJ's.
Have we ever been to BJ's
I'm
together?
thinking of my mom. Like
Yes.
my mom goes to BJ's, she gets like happy hour with her friends, or like, you know, if you go out for like drinks with your girlfriends, whatever it may be, and you're like just hashing things out, just like talking about funny nostalgic stories or things that happen, like you leave and you feel like a little bit like almost put back in that situation. And that's what this podcast would do for me when I would come here and I'd be like over things and then I'd talk about them and be like, maybe I'm not over it.
Well, also one of our biggest inside jokes is like, he listened. He listened to Robin Hood.
Okay, you tell the story. You tell the story.
So long story short, I remember Remy was talking to this guy. Like, honestly, you forget his name. He's irrelevant.
Irrelevant.
His name was irrelevant.
But I would, going back, I mean, here's the thing. If they listen to any of the first like year or 2 years maybe, they all know. Probably, right?
Well, I think for you, you know when you post things on Instagram, like hoping someone sees? That's how you were for the first like 6 months of the podcast because, you know, said dude heard about it, knew you were doing it, like saw that you were promoting it. So when the first episode comes out, I think y'all were on like a rocky situation when it first launched.
I think the whole thing was rocky. Looking back.
Talks of red flags everywhere. We're blind. That was fine.
I can't read.
Rose-colored glasses. It was black and white.
Everything's pink.
Everything. That's not red. That's green. So, anyways, randomly, we have the podcast. Da 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 da. I think you dropped like a little splash hint. You just mentioned like your dating life or something. In an episode. This guy comes out of the woodworks. When I tell you the woodworks, I'm telling you it had been like 2 months of like not hearing anything from him, I want to say. And he texts you and references something you said on the podcast. And it wasn't even like the intro. It was like at the very end of a 45 and 96, I don't know, like a full on hour podcast. And we were like, this kid listened to this entire podcast.
We love the retention.
We love the ROI.
Fan behavior.
And our favorite, the joke about it is because the first episode, because when you launch a podcast, even if, you know, it seems like it'll do good or whatever, when you want to have ads and work with brands, especially the first episode, a lot of brands are kind of iffy because they don't know how well it's going to do. You know, like we could have launched and it flopped. It didn't.
What do you want your legacy to be?
It didn't. No, I'm just being a little bitch. No, luckily, I don't know how to come out from that.
No. You are Chloe. I want you to know. I told Cal that old story.
My dog.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, sorry. Anyways, yes, if you come out and it flops, it didn't.
It didn't. You know, the brands, you know, they're just weary to work with you. Long story short, so we only had one podcast ad on the very first episode, which was Robinhood, which was for like investing. It's actually a really popular like investing.
I'm gonna check
stocks.
mine right now.
Yes. Point being, that was our only ad. So I don't even know if this is funny, but anytime we're like really drunk, sometimes, you know, we used to be like, oh my God, he listened to Robinhood.
My Robinhood is up, everyone.
While we're giving out all the promos, Poppy, Robinhood.
Yeah.
Who else should we shout out? Who else do we want to work with?
UGG. If you want to see my shoes right now, I didn't think my feet were gonna show, and now I'm waving them in the air. But my UGG slippers are fantastic.
Did I tell you to get those ones, or are those different ones?
You told me to get the platform ones, and did you know they sent me PR?
I saw that and I was so jealous. I've never been so jealous of PR in my life.
I've never been more proud to get PR. Lauren messaged me. She's like, who's your contact? I was like, I don't know how. I don't know why. But they messaged me and asked for my address.
You're like, I don't know. How's the number? I'm just
I would never.
No, that's such a LA thing. Like, this thing, I don't know. I'm like, bitch, just say it's from Topshop.
We don't gatekeep. Yeah. It's $5 at Target. Anyways, yeah. But truly going back 4 years ago, I would tell myself, I did treat this podcast. I mean, it got us obviously somewhere. And I think it was good because it was cathartic for me to talk about. It brought us closer, and I'm sure a lot of people listening resonated with whatever the fuck I was saying. Couldn't tell you what it was, but I am a little embarrassed. If you go back. Are you
really?
A little, yeah, actually very embarrassed.
Oh no.
I think it was good, and it taught me to be vulnerable and talk about my feelings. Did I need to share it with the masses? Maybe not, but that's okay.
No, you were just sharing it to me.
Yeah, just
in the blue studio.
In the studio. But yes, our baby is 4. Hope he's doing well. Truly. Hope he's still listening, truly.
Oh, him. Why did I think you meant Evan, the old videographer?
Oh, him too.
Literally the other, week.
Evan?
You texted me. Okay, keep in mind while we're talking about for literally 3 solid years, we're talking about like girl talk, like, oh my god, he left me on red,
oh my
like
god,
that type of shit.
This Taylor Swift song made me cry.
And our first producer, we fucking loved. She was just such like a cheerleader for us.
So cute.
And the guy who was a videographer, his name was Evan, and he was so nice. And I hope he is well. But he filmed all of them, and we always would be like, poor Evan has to sit through all of our shit.
He would be so nice to us.
We would be crying, and he would just be sitting there like filming.
Do you remember? Yes. And do you remember when Emma came on PB and we were talking? We were like, we need to find Evan a nice girl.
All I want is for him to be happy in life. I hope he's well.
I don't know if he's still working at Ramble, but if he is, Evan, let us know.
I know.
We miss you.
We may need help with the cameras.
Let us know. We love you. Hope you're well.
But yeah, yes. That was an era ago.
It's just so crazy how time flies. And like all of the episodes, we've done like hundreds of episodes now.
Yeah.
In the past 4 years, we've given a lot of advice. But it's interesting because I feel like also, obviously, with age and growing older and wiser, hopefully, we've been able to give better advice as the years go on and we experience more of life. But we figured today would be a fantastic time to not only reminisce, but also just give advice to the masses, to give people what they need and answer their questions.
And I hope, this is unsolicited advice. So we are not held liably, responsible here at Pretty Basic. So if you are, taking our advice, it's all on you, bitch.
That was a very harsh way of saying if you relate to this and take our advice, we hope it works out for you. If it
really
doesn't, please don't come
blame
for us.
Don't unsubscribe.
This is just how we would handle these situations. But we asked you guys on Instagram to fill out our prompt, and we are going to give you guys some advice.
Which I think this is the perfect time to say you should definitely follow us on Instagram, Pretty Basic Official. Why couldn't we get Pretty Basic? Did someone have it?
Someone had it.
Rude.
We should follow up on that.
I know. We have the trademark. Slay.
Advice. What would you do if you need more from a friend, but they don't take constructive criticism well?
I guess I'm trying not to overthink because I'm like, well, what's the more? What more do you want? Like, what's the more? But maybe it's okay. So I think my advice for this situation would be flipping it. And it's kind of like, instead of saying you're not doing this well, turn it on you and be like, hey, I need this. And it's not that, it's like, don't make it attacking them. Like if I came to Rem and was like, hey, you are a flake, blah, 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 blah. Instead of like putting her down, I think you can flip it around and be like, hey, lately I've been, feeling this way, blah, blah, blah. I would love if you could let me know ahead of time. So that way, like whatever. And that way it's less about like, you're doing this wrong and I could use this more.
Or it makes me feel sad when, you don't show up to things. It makes me feel like you don't care. I agree with that. I think that's a good way for you to mentally be able to handle it. And also it's just nicer on your friend. But I also think that there's only so many times and so many things you can talk to someone about and ask them for. Like maybe your friend just is a flake and maybe they truly don't care to show up and like know that it means more to you if you don't flake, if they didn't flake. So I think also just putting up a boundary of like, okay, well, I want friends who don't flake on me if I've already expressed it once or twice or 3 times that it hurts my feelings and it makes me feel a certain way. If they're not going to take that into account and realize that it's hurting me, then maybe that person isn't meant to be in my life right now. I don't think you should just cut it off cold turkey, but I do think like it's a matter of boundaries and things. And like to me, we're just using flaking as an example, but like that is a matter of respect and showing up for someone. And if you've expressed it calmly and patiently multiple times, then maybe that is a deal breaker for you. And maybe it's not gonna be a good situation currently because you don't want to hold resentment for someone.
Yeah. Or maybe they're not even like your bestie, but they're just a good friend, but you like have those boundaries so you don't get let down every time they flake.
Or if you just put them on the back burner of like, okay, so, they're usually flaking, so I will double book plans. And if they flake, then I'm going to go do my other thing. Or, you got to do whatever's best for you. Was that good advice?
I think so.
Hopefully. All right. Next one.
I can't read out my glasses.
Okay. What would you do if you're seated with your fiance and your ex, whom you're on good terms with, at the same table at a friend's wedding? P.S. Love you, Remy and Alisha.
Oh my God. Okay. I don't know where I heard this. It was from a friend, and I have an ex who is married now. So there's been times where I'm like, oh my, like, I think this stuck with me because I was like, if that ever happens to me, good to know. And granted, I think the situation that my friend was in where her ex, I think she had kind of known the now wife. Like, I think there was something in there, but they were like, if you ever run into your ex like that, like always say hi to the wife first, like hug the wife first and then like him. And if you're going to hug, or like acknowledge her first and then him versus like just like hugging, like showing that you like respect her, that like you're acknowledging her and she's there. And I was like, oh, that's so interesting. Yeah. So I think just keeping each other in the conversation, like obviously it's weird if you sit there and don't talk to each other. Like it's fine to talk, but I think also just like being aware of like your significant others in this situation.
Yeah, I don't think it'd be an issue, especially if you're on good terms with. Like if you were not on good terms with, then I feel like that would be a little bit more uncomfortable. But you can laugh and joke, like you're engaged.
But don't flirt.
No.
Don't flirt.
No flirting.
There's a difference. Yeah.
No flirting.
No, of course not.
But I think you can just chat and be normal. I think it's fine.
Yeah.
I think it'd even be better if you did know. Of course, you won't know until you get there, most likely. But if you're close enough with the bride and groom, maybe they've let you know, like, hey, you're going to be sitting at the table with them. Then you and your partner can communicate beforehand, like, hey, I heard they're going to be at the table. Just a heads up, like, just so everyone's on the same page. But if not, you can be nice. You don't have to be rude, but you also don't have to be like sticking your tongue down their throat. You can just be like, hey, how's it been? Cordial, calm, collected.
It's weird because it's easy giving advice when you think hypothetically, but if I'm actually in the like position, like I'm thinking if you knew your ex was going to be there, like what would that talk be with Cal?
And the ex and I are on good terms or bad terms?
Like you're good terms, but you definitely like were together.
Oh, I'd just be like, hey, guess what? I heard that this person's going to be at the table.
So different.
And
like
you would be like, no way. And I'd be like, yeah, that's so funny. And then we move on.
Oh my God.
How would you?
I would definitely, I feel like I'm just like, I don't know. I think I would be hyper aware of like every little thing.
Really?
I'd be like, oh, is she like trying to like, I don't know. I think I'd be very, I don't know. I think I would just be anxious because I'm an anxious bubble.
I was going to say Cal's an overthinker too.
Yeah.
I think if the roles were reversed, he'd be a little bit more nervous. But I really think it depends like on the situation. Like if we're on good terms, then we're all buds. If we ended on bad terms and we're at the same table, then I would be like, hey, just a heads up. I heard that this person's coming, like just so we know.
Yeah.
And then I think when I would be at the wedding, then I'd be hyper aware.
Yeah.
But I would try to just get drunk and have fun.
Exactly. More wine. More wine.
Open bar. As you guys know, Alisha and I love to travel, and we truly believe that the best suitcase brand, the best travel brand overall, is Away. I've been using Away for years, and they have amazing luggage that are just so well made. They're durable, they're convenient, they're just perfect overall. So if you guys haven't tried them, they are absolutely incredible. I personally, as we know, am an overpacker, and they just really help me stay organized and help with my overpacking. Like for instance, there's this little divider where I can put in any sort of like clothing or my socks or my underwear. I like to use it for socks and underwear, and it also kind of acts as like a compression guard. So it's amazing to pack a ton of stuff in my suitcase, especially if you're going somewhere in the cold climate and you need jackets and, you know, socks and all these things. It's great because you can fit so much into your suitcase. All of Away suitcases are built to last with durable, lightweight exteriors that can withstand even the roughest of baggage handlers. And there's also 4 360-degree spinner wheels that guarantee the smoothest roll, even through the most hectic of airports and stations. As you guys know, sometimes they put carpet and things into the airports, and it's hard to push. Those wheels really make it easy, as well as just like on tile. I can just push my little suitcase along, no issues at all. If you guys watch my vlogs, you know that I love giving away suitcases as gifts, whether it's a birthday gift or the holidays are coming around. I think the holidays are a perfect time to give someone a nice Away luggage. They're going to love it. There's a 100-day free trial on everything Away makes, plus they offer free shipping and returns within the contiguous US, Europe, Canada, and Australia on all non-personalized product orders. This holiday season, gift away at awaytravel.com/basic. That's awaytravel.com/basic.
What would you do if you study and work so hard and still get bad grades?
From Lita My Unicorn. We love Lita My Unicorn.
Honestly, just find a different way to study. Like for me and Ashley, we always worked best making songs up, which makes so much sense.
Yeah.
So we would make up like songs or raps or like whatever to like memorize shit, and it helped so much. So just find something that helps for you.
We're doing the bone dance, you dance and you learn it again and again. I think oh
my God, I just remembered a song. Oh my God, I was in anatomy and physiology and there was a song. What was it? And I got a fucking A+. on that. And it was like a hard ass question. And I fucking knew it because I made a song and I forget it right now.
The patella. The luxating patella. I'll answer for now. I would say, I mean, to be fully honest, I studied hard, but not super hard in high school, and definitely not in college. And I didn't get the best grades. I did pretty adequately. But I would say, I think for me, if this, with my situation, I was so stressed on getting into a decent or good college. And looking back on it now, obviously my life went in a whole other trajectory than I was expecting. But I think also, you know, if you are studying hard and you're doing everything that you can and your grades just really aren't working out for you, just like, and I think try different tactics like Alisha said, or ultimately at the end of the day, I mean, I think like there's obviously maybe college just isn't for you. Maybe you're going to have a different pathway that's not going on to college, or maybe you'll go to a community college and you can work on your grades there, whatever it may be. I feel like there's so many different options. And when I was in high school and also growing up in an Asian household, I feel like it was very much like you study hard, you do well in school, and then you go to a good college after that. But since then, like so much has changed. So I think giving yourself more grace, and like at the end of the day, you are working hard and you're applying yourself. And if that's the most you can do, then that's the most that you can do. I understand that it's frustrating if you're applying yourself and it's still not working out. But I think try and give yourself a little grace because you are doing more than enough already.
Sorry, I'm trying to find it.
We're doing the bone dance. You're dancing. How did you just find that?
Just fine. Do. Osteoblast cover cartilage shaft forming a new layer of bone. Blood vessels take part of the cartilage. New osteopaths form the office. I forget. That was it.
How do you have that?
I remember I made a back to school study tips video and I had it in there, so I was trying to find it. Osteopaths cover the cartilage shaft, forming a new layer of bone. Blood vessels inside of the cartilage.
That's like the ultimate example, though, of just like memorizing. Like sometimes you don't have to. You should understand, but like I can't tell you what the Pythagorean theorem is. I can, but I can't tell you what the quadratic formula is. But like, I don't know what to do with it, but I have it memorized. You know what I mean?
Also, a lot of creative people don't do well in a traditional school setting. Like, it is, most people are visual learners. And though I am so strongly about this just because, like, the schooling system, I feel like needs a lot of help because not everyone can just sit with 30 kids and learn that way. You know what I mean? I mean,
a lot of it is memorization. Like, and I memorized enough and crammed enough to take the test. And then as soon as I walked out, which is not the way you're supposed to do it, but I know. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Next question. What do you do if you're too nervous to try therapy for the first time, but know you need it? Oh,
don't be nervous. You're about to be a whole new person in the best way.
I think also there are so many forms of therapy that you can do. Like you can do therapy via chat. Journaling. You can do it or like, but if you want to actually see a therapist, like you can do it via chat. You can do it via phone call. Like if going in person and seeing someone face to face is too scary, which I totally understand. And it's like a whole new level of vulnerability that you don't normally have in real life or on the day-to-day. I think start with like chat, work your way up to the phone, and then maybe you'll work your way up to like a video call and then maybe up to in person.
Also, it's kind of like dating. You have to find someone who works for you. So I feel like I've met some people throughout my life who are like, I tried that, it didn't work. And I'm like, okay, you tried it with one person. That doesn't mean it didn't work. Also, it's kind of easier to tell a stranger things because they're so unbiased and like they don't know people. And there's been certain sessions where I feel like I'm just talking to like a friend, like updating her on like, well, this person did this and da 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 da. But then they're trained to like guide you. So if it's like super awkward and quiet, they're gonna be like, okay, well, like tell me more about that. Like they'll guide you. So it's you don't feel like you have to like go sit and like pour out your heart to someone. Like you can also work up to like you don't have to tell them all your deepest, darkest secrets. You can like wait until you trust them.
For sure. There needs to be a lot of trust, I feel like, that you build up with your therapist before. And when we're open people in general.
I know.
But it still takes a long time. So I think figure out a way that works for you where you feel comfortable. And I think chat is a great way to start because then you feel like you're just chatting with the computer. All right, next one.
What do you do if you had no friends and didn't know how to make friends, but were lonely as an adult? Making adult friends is so much harder than like being in school, I feel like.
Yeah. But I will say I think I like making adult friends more than school friends or growing up friends, because you're in such a little bubble when you're growing up. And like all my friends from home were like from my elementary school, middle school to high school, which is fine. And I love all of them. But as an adult, you have so many more options to meet people. And what I would say to this is I think find a common interest. Like I meet so many people at like workout classes, at a bar, at parties. Like put yourself out in those situations where you might meet people with common interests. Like I met one of Kelsey Kreppel's friends, mutual friends. And I went to lunch with her the other day, and she's so nice. We had so much in common, but I just met her at a birthday party.
You're so good at that. I'm the opposite.
Really?
Oh, I'm so shy. So it's like
she loved you.
Oh my God. Oh, I was drunk. But yes, I agree. Also, when you're in school, you're kind of forced to be friends with those people.
Yeah.
Where when you're older, you can have more of a say.
Yeah.
But especially for people who like move to a new place and you just don't know anyone, it is really hard. But I think you're so good at it. Like we'll be at Soul Cycle and someone will compliment you, and the next thing you know, you're like telling them, you're like, oh my God, we blah, blah, blah. Like you find common interests really quick with people, even when you're talking to them. Because you always look at me and you're like, oh my God, she's from this place. Or you're like, wait, that's so cool. Like little things like that where I would just be like, oh, hi.
Interesting. Well, then maybe that's a tip. Find common ground.
Or find someone who makes friends.
Or that too. That too. But I think like I've met so many friends in like random places. Like just chat people up. I know it's hard and it's easier said than done. But I think just like if you really like Pilates, then obviously you'll meet someone at Pilates who that's already one common interest that you have.
Yeah.
And then from there, it's like, wait, you also like Pilates. Oh, but you also have a dog? I have a dog.
Yeah.
Like things like that.
Agree.
You have a wiener?
I have a ween.
I have a ween. Okay. What would you do if you feel like you're 10 steps behind your friend's accomplishments? Wow.
This one's a hard one. I think knowing everyone has a whole set, like accomplishments, there's like a whole scale of different, like to you, they may feel like huge things, but then to your friend who has those accomplishments is probably looking at you thinking, well, at least you're already graduated.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or whatever.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of hard for us because I think a lot of people would look at us being like, oh, you've accomplished so much. But I'm like, yeah, but at least you like are graduated and you have a family. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So I think it is hard to just not compare. And that's obviously what it comes down to, is just not comparing yourself to other people.
Or I think even knowing that comparison and jealousy are normal human reactions and it's okay to feel that way. I don't think you should let it eat yourself up if you're able to, but I do think it's like you're going to naturally feel that no matter what. If you do, like you and I even together, like we have accomplished so much individually, but if you really put it side by side, like there are some things that I've done that you haven't done and some things that you've done that I haven't done, even though people would look at us and be like, oh, they're very similar.
Yeah.
So I think it's like remembering that everybody's on their own path. Yeah, I have friends who have babies and I have friends who have like done more in their careers, and like just knowing that I'm on my path and things are going to happen for me when it's time to happen for me, or they might not happen at all because it just wasn't meant to happen to me. But I think like there are times, of course, where I feel like, oh, like I wish I had that, or I wish I had done that, or wish that happened to me. And knowing like, okay, well, that's normal. But then reminding myself it'll happen in due time, or it might not, but that's okay. Versus being like mad at myself for being jealous or mad at myself for comparing myself.
I remember, I think it was an Instagram post or TikTok or something, but it was saying how like jealousy is just an emotion, like you were saying. And when you're jealous, it's not a bad thing. It's actually cool because you can tap into that and be like, okay, you're never truly jealous of someone. Like it's not about them. It's you internalizing that you're like, wow, they have that and I don't.
Yeah.
So it's good to like self-reflect and be like, okay, why am I feeling jealous right now? Because it's not about them. Are you jealous that they are driven? Are you jealous that they have been able to travel? Like figure out what it is you're jealous about. And that can actually tell you a lot about what you're like wanting in life. But it's not about them. Like where I feel like society is like suppress yourself feeling jealous.
Yeah.
They teach that, you know?
Yeah, for sure. What would you do if he reaches out to you and apologizes for everything he did to hurt you?
Oh, I mean, I left him on red when he did that.
Thank you. Next.
But then my psycho ass was like waiting for him to double text me. Like I was like, he's obsessed with me. And then yeah.
I think in these situations, and I think in so many dating situations, and this is what I tell everybody and what I tried to tell myself back in the day, is whatever you're gonna do, make sure you just do it for you. Like if you want to leave him on red, that's completely fine. But if you weren't doing that for yourself, you were doing that in hopes that he would double text you.
Oh, I did that for my ego.
Exactly. But like if you really were like, I see that, I appreciate it, I don't feel like I need to reply, then you would have been fine. But, or if you want to say like, hey, I appreciate that, thank you, or if you want to apologize for something back, whatever it may be, just do it for you and don't do it for a response or any sort of action from another person.
Yeah, no, I was sitting there with my hands folded next to my phone for a month. No. I mean, yeah, but no. No.
Wait, do tell. Let's go into that a little more.
Oh, no, just out of the blue, I get a huge text that's like,
novel.
I'm so sorry. Like, you're someone I owe an apology to. I feel like I've just been going through it lately. Da, 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 da. Like a novel, okay? Fucking, I was
How
like,
did you feel when you got it?
oh, I felt like the fucking bit. Like, I was like, fuck yeah. Like, I have the power back, which is so stupid. But I was just like, oh, like it validated so many feelings. But
How long after was this after your breakup?
This was, I don't even remember.
Was it like a long time after or like very soon after?
I think it was a hot minute after.
Like years?
No, it was like months.
Okay.
Yeah. And I just remember being like, oh, yes, we got him.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I was like, I'm not going to reply. But then I kept being like, oh, I hope he'll text me again. And then I was like, Alisha.
And then did he ever text you again?
Yeah. I'm kidding.
Same thing after?
I'm just, less of that. I think that was the only like novel, sorry letter that I got. But I was like,
after it was just like a what's up? Long time no talk.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. It's so weird.
I'm just giving the listeners what they want.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. I think
okay, wait,
I don't think I've ever gotten an apology.
Yeah, you did.
I did?
Yes, you did, Remy. You blacked some shit out, let me tell you.
I said no, he never apologized. Did he?
Well, no, actually. The phone call.
Oh. That wasn't an apology.
No, you're right. You were the one who was like, he said sorry. And I was like, he did not say sorry. That is what happened.
That's what happened.
You were like, yeah, he was really sweet. He said sorry. And I was like, Remy Cruz, I heard that. And he literally was like, oh, I guess that was shitty. That was his apology to you. And you're like, he apologized. I was like, that is not an apology.
Oh my God. Well,
Trauma.
looking back, I still stand with what I said. Do it for you.
Yes.
Do it for you. Okay, next. Advice on subconscious anxiety and reacting based on anxiety, not on the situation.
This takes a lot of time and just experience of going through it, but I think I've gotten to a better place where I can differentiate between when I'm having anxiety and when I'm just anxious. Because you can be anxious about a situation. Like, you don't have to have anxiety to be anxious about something. But if you have like general anxiety, that's just like a constant state of anxiety. And unfortunately, I think that just happens when you have to deal with it a lot, because then you start to realize like, oh, I recognize this feeling. I'm hyperventilating a little bit, or I'm like extra like in my head wondering if these people hate me. Like, this is anxiety versus, oh, I walked into a room and people stared at me. Like, I got anxious in that thing. However, I can rationalize it's because my shoe was untied, or I don't know, some random, like,
yeah,
you can rationalize it more.
I think for me, I know my triggers. Like, for me, I know I experience very bad anxiety. Like, after a night out, I come home and I'm like, everybody hates me. The next morning, I'm like, I did something stupid. I fell off the table. Everyone hates me. I said something obnoxious. Like, I start to spiral after I go out. It's been better lately, but for a while, it was every time I would go out, I think it was also like not going out during COVID and then overthinking my actions. So I know. And now I've been able to talk myself through it. Or sometimes I'm like, Alisha fucking hates me. So the next day I'll text her. I'll be like, do you hate me? And she's like, no. And I'm like, okay, good.
It's funny hearing you say that, because I've never once like it felt that ever.
Thank God. It's not in the moment though. It's the next day.
Yeah.
And so then I'm like, oh, everyone hates me. And then now I'll just ask people. Or I've even gone to the point now where I'm like, you're in your head. You are in your head. It's fine. It's fine. People don't hate you. People don't hate you. And then I'll usually forget by the next day. So that's kind of like one of my triggers. My other trigger is like, as we all know, feeling like not like feeling trapped. So if it's not those, I'm able to kind of rule it out and like try and be normal. But do you know like what triggers you specifically?
Oh gosh. I mean, especially if I ever have like if I'm extremely tired. Oh my God, my mind is a wreck. My mom's the exact same way, so all of was genetic. Like, when I'm really exhausted, my anxiety is way higher. And I love my sleep. Like, that's one thing about me. I'm like, I love my sleep. And always notice, like after I get a night where I've like actually been rested, I'll be like, oh my God, I was just tired. No wonder I was like spiraling. Crazy. Like, or like being scared, like, you know, just like being scared or on edge or like that kind of stuff. If I'm on my phone 24/7, I will start over analyzing like anything where I'm like, oh my God, like, and it's so like social media just does that in general. Like you'll see a friend post something and I'll be like, oh, they're talking about me. But I'm like, no, you have no, my therapist told me, she was like, what's the like actual proof, the actual hard facts you have about this? That like, did you do something to this person? Like, no, like, but
you got traumatized by that one
bitch. I did. But it's hard though, because I think a lot of people can relate to this. Like also I feel like some people like exaggerate things online for content. So
it makes me sad.
They'll be like, damn, like people are shady, blah, 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 blah. You know, like people post that type of stuff. And I'm the one person which I'm like, they're probably not talking about me, but I always like internalize it thinking they are.
Me. Yeah.
So I don't know if that's that's a trigger for sure. But then I always am like, oh my God, it's about me. And then I'm like, Alisha, just if it is, then if it actually is, then that's on them to come and talk to you. And that's helped me a lot.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, then I'm clueless.
I think also, I mean, in my situation, if I were to come to you and I was like, do you hate me? And you're like, yeah, you said this thing last night. If that is becoming the pattern, then that's not just anxiety. Yeah. That's like you actually are not being a good person. Yeah. So I think it's like weighing. But since you have, and anybody I go out with is always like, no, you were fine.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, now I'm able to rule it out. Yeah. So I think base it on that to this person.
What are the facts?
What are the facts? WATF. What are the facts?
Slay.
I love DoorDash so much.
Ordering food from my phone.
I mean, same. I just love the convenience of everything. If you guys are not using DoorDash, you are absolutely living under a rock. It is so handy, especially, you know,
what?
If this had been around when I was in college.
Oh, game over. That and Grammarly.
I was going to say, I already gained the freshman 15. It would have been the freshman 45 for sure for me. So I guess it's probably a better thing. But DoorDash is absolutely amazing. Like maybe you guys are, you know, when the dining hall is getting old, which trust me, we've all been there, or you need supplies for a tailgate, or you need brain fuel for those late night group study sessions. DoorDash has you covered. You can get the back to school savings that you really want and get unlimited free DoorDash deliveries with Dash Pass. I have Dash Pass, you guys. It's only $4.99 a month for students. It is incredible. When you're in college, you especially want to be careful with what you're spending money on. And to me, $4.99 for Dash Pass just makes sense. With $0 delivery fees, exclusive items, and more than 25,000 members-only offers nationwide, Dash Pass by DoorDash has everything you need to make the semester memorable. Dash Pass for students gets you delivery in under an hour or less, so you can satisfy those spur-of-the-moment cravings or save even more with 5% DoorDash credits back on pickup orders. Dash Pass for students gives you access to more than just your favorite restaurants, saving you on grocery runs, convenience store trips, and they even have your back with gift shopping. Like for me, I didn't have a car in college, so this would have been absolutely fantastic. And you can even save more with an annual membership, less than $50 a year for unlimited $0 delivery fees. For a limited time, our listeners can get 50% off up to a $20 value and $0 delivery fees when you download the DoorDash app and enter code PRETTYBASIC. That's 50% off up to a $20 value and $0 delivery fees when you download the DoorDash app in the App Store and enter code PRETTYBASIC. Don't forget, that's code PRETTYBASIC for 50% off up to a $20 value and $0 delivery fees with DoorDash. Subject to change, terms apply.
Rim and I just want to give a huge shout out to one of our great friends and partners here at Pretty Basic, Macy's. Honestly, I don't know about you guys. My schedule and calendar has been booked and busy. There's just so many different things going on. I even feel like now is that time where there's different events or, you know, football games or whatever, all these Friendsgiving, all these different things. And it's just a busy time of the year. So something you can depend on having your back during this time is how versatile the store is at Macy's. Because if you truly want to rock your style at all these different events and occasions, from snowball fights to fancy holiday parties, you need a wide variety of options. And I feel confident that Macy's has everything I need for my wardrobe during this time.
Obviously, for me, I live in LA, but as we all know, I often go back to Minnesota for Christmas to visit Cal's family, who I love so much, but I have never experienced cold like I have in Minnesota. Oof. And I didn't even know the jackets that you need and the clothing you need from Minnesota weather versus LA weather till I've been there. So if you guys live in the Midwest, I feel you now. And they've got you covered on like nice thick jackets and like lined leggings and just everything you might need. And if you live in LA, they also have things covered for you, like a nice sweatpant and maybe a cardigan. So no matter what events you have and how you mix and match your holiday staples, you make it your style. For all the inspo you need, visit Macys.com/ownyourstyle. What would you do if you can't get over your situationship? Ooh, that's weird. That's suspicious.
That's weird.
That's weird.
That's suspicious. I mean,
I can go off.
go ahead.
I would say situationships are hard. They're hard. I feel like there's no navigating it. And also every situationship is situational.
I know, it's so different.
But I do think generally, I mean, the biggest struggle that I had with mine was that it's so hard because like you convince yourself, whether it's like, oh, they love me, or oh, we're going to be together, or like, oh, we're not together. Oh, like we haven't talked in a few months, or like whatever it may be, or I'm being breadcrumbed, or, whatever it may be. I think let yourself try to be as real as you can with your feelings. And I've said this for years, but I think really throughout the situationship, I think ask yourself, like, is this what I really want? Is this what I really want? And we all lie to ourselves. But once it's over, I think be really real with yourself. Like really take a step back, look at everything, look at all that happened and be like, okay, well, shit, maybe I did lie to myself. Maybe I wanted to be with this person. Maybe I swore up and down with them. I didn't want to be with them and I wanted to just fuck around and find out. But maybe I really did. And like that was doing myself and that person a disservice. So now I need to work on myself and kind of like pick up the pieces and realize like, okay, so now I have to get over everything that I lied to myself about and get through that. I think relying on your friends is really big and talking it out. But I think the sooner that you can admit to yourself that you wanted more or what you wanted will just make the whole situation fly by quicker. Because for me, I feel like for like, how long after was I still lying to myself? Like, no, I didn't want that. I didn't want that. Until one day I was like, oh shit, like obviously I did. Everyone saw it. Obviously I did. And then once I saw that, then I was like, okay, well, that was shitty of me. And then what they did was shitty. And then like I was able to move on from there. I would not suggest, I do suggest actually, I think like going out and dating and meeting new people. But just know it's going to take time, I think also to allow yourself to heal. Like, I don't know if I would jump right into it. I feel like I jumped in way too quickly with everything right after. And I didn't give myself enough time to like, I feel like I was trying to find new people while still figuring out how I was feeling about everything.
Or like to find someone else to erase the other person.
Yeah.
But it's so funny because it's so weird being out of it. But like when you're in it, I think you're so blinded. But I think one thing that can help is instead of, again, do you see those like divine femininity like TikToks and stuff where it's like, it's not they don't want me, it's I don't want them. Like honestly make a list of like, okay, if he doesn't like he hasn't talked to me in 3 months, that's unattractive. Like you don't like that. So flip the narrative and instead of feeling like, oh, like they don't want me, I'm not good enough for them, I'll never find someone, be like, actually like this guy was not the best. He literally like didn't give me the time of day and I do deserve better. And I know that's so hard. I know it's so fucking hard because even when you're in it, you're like, okay, this is the best I'll get. But it's like, it's not. Like,
oh my God, it is not.
It's not. Like, babes, my friend recently was like, oh my God, he drove from Orange County just to get drinks with me. And I was like, that's
the bare minimum, babe.
But that feels like it's so much because it's like, whoa, he drove from Orange County all the way here. But it's true. It's like, don't take it personal of like, oh, I'm not good enough. Flip it around and be like, I don't like this about him. I didn't like this about him. And in my next relationship, I want this. And I think it will be easier if you do get out and date soon to like be in that right headspace.
I do think that's good. I think allow yourself to heal and then jump back into it. But situationships suck. But I will say, after being in a healthy relationship for 3.5 years now, it gets so much better.
Oh my God.
So, and just like, no one deserves a situationship, honestly. At the end of the day, when you're like, oh yeah, I'm down for that. Some people really do want it, and I totally understand that, but I do feel like there is just so much better than a situationship for everybody. But if you want it, you want it, and that's totally fine, and I love that for you.
Slay.
All right. What do you do if you're in your best friend's wedding, but you do not think they should be getting married? Girl. I was trying to think of a funny thing to say. I think that you support it no matter what. You support your best friend.
I think if I was in this situation, let's say my sister's getting married to someone and I don't think they should be getting married, but she's my sister and I fucking love her. And it's her wedding. You know what I mean? I would make sure I had at least one intentional talk where I voiced my opinion as her sister. Like, this is best friend status, sister status. Like,
you're in the wedding.
You are the maid of honor. You're like, I think you do have like a role to play of voicing your opinion in a very respectful way, and in a way that isn't going to be like, oh, this means a friendship breakup. This means an
ultimatum.
It's not an ultimatum. It's also like, I would be like, hey, Ash, here are my feelings. If you like, take it for what it is. If you're still moving forward with this wedding, and I would do it like, obviously not the day before the wedding, you know, like do it like early. And then that way when the wedding comes along, and let's say she says, thank you, but I'm going to marry him anyway, then at least I can still be happy for her on her wedding, because it is still her wedding day. You know what I mean? Like, and I know peace of mind, like I said what I wanted to say, but that doesn't mean I'm going to be a sour lemon like the entire wedding. Like,
Absolutely.
I think that's important. Like respect them and be there and be happy for them, but also make sure you've said you're in a very respectful way.
And also, you might think that they're not meant to be together, but you don't see what happens behind closed doors. You don't see like that bond they have. Like, maybe you could be wrong, and it's not, I don't think it's worth ending a friendship over, unless they're like actually person. A douchebag, and like visibly to everybody. And it requires like a bigger talk. But I think if you're just like, you have a weird inkling, you're like, I don't know, like you have that talk with them respectfully. If they choose to still go forward with it, then you support the hell out of them, and you're there decorating and with the bouquets and everything like that, invitations, whatever it may be that maid of honor helps with. I don't even know. But you help with everything. And then if it does go south, then you're not there to say I told you so, and you are there to pick up the pieces.
Bitch, I'm there for your bridesmaid. Hold your veil, hold your dress.
You got a piece?
Divorce papers, I'll hold the paper. Like, whatever it is, like, I am there.
Yeah.
I do think this is a really hard situation. No one wants to be in this situation, but in the end, you have to remember that that is just your opinion, and they can listen. That's or
my
not.
opinion.
That's my opinion.
Yeah, it's true though.
Next, what would you do if you got ghosted by your boyfriend or best friend? BF, I would assume boyfriend.
I think boyfriend. You know, Jason Derulo did this to Jordan Sparks after they dated for 3 years.
Honestly, that would hurt me really bad. like if Cal fucking just ghosted
I was just gonna like
abandonment
like, for
issues.
Jordan Sparks, like we were on the same trajectory as Cal and I are. If I came home and he was just gone and never spoke to me again, I would first seek therapy.
A friend just told me a story where something like that happened to someone they knew. The guy was like, okay, cool, I'll see you, and then just dipped.
I think truly if I were to go home and Cal were literally be gone and never speak to me again, I would seek therapy.
Yep.
I would cry a lot. But I really do think that I would obviously want to know an answer, and I would want closure, but I could honestly go home and be like, that's on you then. That's not on me.
I was just going to say, I think me a few years ago would have taken it all so personally.
Yeah.
I think now I'm like, damn, you're that much of a coward. You can't even tell me.
Yeah.
Like, it's less about they left me, and it's more about, damn, you're that. You literally can't even send a text.
Yeah. Not even. No, you can't have you need a conversation.
Exactly.
But agreed,
But like nothing. Like, damn, you are not the man I thought you were. Like that's again, we both would be sobbing. So
yeah, no, I would be heartbroken and so sad, and I would want closure. But ultimately, I would know, like, okay, then
that's a them thing.
Yeah, that's on you, and I at least deserve a conversation here. So yeah, I think that's what I would think of. Just like, you deserve so much more than that. But I would definitely
block his number.
Block his number and enjoy your summer.
Slay. Next question.
What would you do if you don't fit in?
Girl, no one fits in.
Yeah, it's true.
Last night when I was at the Harry Styles concert with TK, I was like, oh my God, we would have been friends in high school, because like we went all out. We had our shirts. And I was like, this reminds me of Spirit Week. And I was like, actually, you're too cool for me. Like, you would have been too cool. Like, I was such a nerd. And she's like, no, I really, like, I know. And I was like, no, you could do a full in gymnastics, you know, like tumbling. I was like, no, like, you were cool. And she was like, no, I really was. And I promise. And I was like, no, same. Which, like, I feel like people see, like, to her, I'm like, no, there's no way, you were probably so cool. No one ever does that to me. They're like, oh, yeah, I bet. Like, they see it. They're like, oh. I'm like waiting for someone to be like, no, tell me. Like,
I mean, the guitar photo.
I know, it's so good. It's so good. No, all jokes aside, honestly, like, no one is cool. No one fits in. Like, everyone everyone feels like a little outcast, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I think there's some people who just fit in more with like they seem like they're in with their friends.
Fake it till you make it, though.
But I also like find people who you do fit in with, like find people who do fit your quirks and weirdness and like who laugh at your jokes. Like if you're cracking jokes left and right and no one's laughing, find people who will laugh. Like find better people. I don't know. I think school, I'm assuming you're in school just because I feel like once you graduate, you just don't give a shit about like fitting in because you just find people who you vibe with. Next question. What do you do if you have to work so hard towards something and once you get it, it's not what you thought? Oh.
Realize that's life.
Mm-hmm.
That is life. Such is life.
Life.
Life, life, life.
Welcome to life.
Yeah. I mean, I think the first time I really recognized that in my own life was with subscribers.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, and this was the time of YouTube where like subscribers was everything, but it's like, once I hit 100,000, I'm going to be happy. And then you hit 100,000. It's like, once I hit 250, once I hit 500, a million. 5 million. Like it never is good enough.
No.
But also at the same time, it doesn't fucking matter.
And it all feels the same. And I think that's when you put so much of your identity and value of yourself into those goals. Like, oh, well, I'm going to, hit 1 million subscribers, or I'm going to get my doctorate degree. Like what, like, I don't know. I feel like there's just different things where it's like, you think once you get it, you're just going to have this like aha moment. And it's always the journey there. I know this is so cliche. It's always like leading up to it that's so much more rewarding. And like, I don't know, it's just idolizing it. Even like I've done that with like weight, I've done that with subscriber numbers, like even I've like done that even with like trips, you know what I mean? Like being like, oh my god, it's gonna be the best, and then I'm like, oh, like it's fun, but
it's here.
In my head it was just so romanticized. I
have a friend who I've known for almost a decade now, and they're at their dream job that we've been talking about since 10 years ago, and they're not happy. Mm-hmm. It's just not what they wanted. It's all this like letdown of expectations.
Yeah.
So I think once you realize that is just how life is, you are able to kind of slow down a bit more and enjoy on the way there. You can still celebrate, of course, when you get there, and there are certain times where you are really excited.
Yeah.
And you should be. But I think that like false level of expectations is what sets us up all for our sadness after.
Totally.
I mean, that's what it is. So I think like celebrating the little wins is a really good way to, pep it up a bit on the way there. And I think also just remembering like, now I know if I hit 2 million, or I don't even know how many subscribers I'm at, whatever it may be. If I hit the next milestone, I'd be like, that's awesome. But like, I don't care anymore. Mm-hmm. Now I'm at the point where I'm like, that's cool. And it's something to celebrate, but I'm not putting all of my worth into that anymore.
Yeah.
Next one. What do you do if you are not sure if a guy likes you back, but shows signs of liking you? Ooh.
Bitch, I don't know. But if you're not sure,
I think a good one. I think if he likes you enough, you will know. Mm-hmm. I think he could just like you, and I think they could just be attracted to you. But is it enough? If they're not making it blatantly obvious that it is enough, then it's not enough.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of like saying it.
Mixed signals. Oh, wait, what do you mean?
Like some people would be like, tell him that you like him. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I would never.
Yeah. I mean, I get
that. That's just my personality.
Yeah. I think if they're making it obvious enough, then you'll know. And I think it also depends what you want. Like, I'm assuming that if you like a guy, you would want to probably be in a relationship with them, or you would want something more. But if they're not making it blatant, because men are very black and white, then it's not enough for a relationship. And if that's not enough for a relationship, and a relationship is what you want, then it's not enough. Yeah. I feel like I'm speaking in a different language right now.
No. Or if it's chill and it's like, okay, well, he's not making moves, like just enjoy the chemistry.
Yeah. Flirt a little. Have some fun.
Have some fun. Slay. What do you do if you're scared to start dating but don't want to die alone? Well, you can get another dachshund. Are
you scared to date?
I think I used to be. Now I'm not so much anymore.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Oh my god, yeah, I used to be like so like crippling anxiety about it.
Now you feel better though?
Oh my god, yeah. But I just know more who I am now. I think it was a confidence thing for sure.
And now you're more open to dating again?
Yeah, but I'm just like
not enough.
I think in my head it feels like I need to change my mindset because it feels like a chore. Like, especially seeing how many like first dates my sister like has done or like whatever. But I'm like, okay, but now she's like with someone who like or like you have to kind of put in that time. Like I get that. And I feel like I was never in that right headspace until now to do that.
I feel like it'll flip. I don't even know if you necessarily need to work on the idea of it not being a chore. One day you'll wake up and just be like, okay, like, yeah, I'm in the mood today.
Yeah.
I don't think you have to like work towards that.
Yeah.
But sorry, you're scared to start dating, but don't want to die alone. What advice do you have? Dating is scary in general.
I mean, my ideal situation is like a friend of a friend or like in person meeting someone versus the apps. The apps just like, I just fucking hate them, but also I'm not opposed to them. So I think like also a huge step is just like putting it out there to your friends of like, oh, like I'm single. Do you know anyone? Like that type of stuff. Even if it's like as a joke, like just getting it out there and like speaking it out, I think is huge. And you don't even have to like start dating anyone, but just putting it out there that you're like, oh, like who could you see me with? So like, you know, or if your friend knows, I feel like that shit happens all the time. And people are like, oh yeah, I didn't think of anyone until I thought, I don't know, like just get out there that way.
I think also treating dating like you're just meeting friends because the basis of a good friendship or good relationship is a friendship.
Exactly.
So I think about like I went on a date with this guy a few times and like he and I are buds for life now. Like we're buds.
Yes, you are.
We didn't hook up. We're just buds. And I think he's cool.
Yeah.
And like now I have a friend out of that. So I think that it's good to just treat it like you guys are like you're just like meeting a new person to maybe be friends. If you are friends with them, sick. If you get to date after, even better. But if all goes wrong and there's no chemistry, then like whatever. Like it does. You don't hit it off with every person you meet to be your friend.
Also, you're not gonna die alone. I know it's such a joke that we all say, but like you really aren't. You really aren't. And by your profile photo, I think you look young. Like you really aren't. I promise. Even if you were older, who cares? I remember being in the Nobu bathroom and I was drunk, and there was this woman who came in and she was also drunk. She's like, "It's my 50th birthday," and then she's like, "I had a baby when I was 46. Like I met my husband at 42. Like I took myself." And the reason why she met him is because I already said this story, but she took herself on a honeymoon where she wanted to go.
That's right.
She met friends who were there on their honeymoon or something. And they were like, oh my God, you need to come meet us in London sometime. Cause she's like, oh my God, I work in London. She goes and meets them in London. They have a best friend. Now they're fucking married. Like that shit happens.
It will happen for everybody. And I also do think that everybody has many soulmates. It's not just one person.
Yes.
So we don't need to get hung up on one single person. All right. What would you do if a boy that I thought I liked asked me out, but now I'm not sure if I like him or the idea?
Ooh, okay. So this is a situation of like you want what you can't have.
Yeah.
Or like once like you can't have them,
The
you're
chase.
like, I don't want him anymore. So I don't know. Like, did you actually like him? Did you not? Or maybe you do. I don't know.
I think also give it a chance. Obviously, there was a general attraction for you to like him from the get-go and then go on the date. And if there's no spark or chemistry after the date, then I think, yeah, maybe you like the idea of him. But if you go on the date, like you might be surprised. Maybe you'll be, you know, pleasantly surprised by the chemistry or pleasantly surprised by the conversation, but you won't know until you get there.
Oh, what would you do if you're not in love anymore, but too comfortable in the relationship?
I think get uncomfortable. I think you're doing a disservice to both yourself and your partner if you're staying together with someone that you're not in love with anymore.
Also, you're at least aware enough that you're comfortable in the, like most people are like so in denial about that. Like they can't even reflect and be like, wow, I'm not like, this is very self like aware. But I think if anything, like, do you really want that? Do you want, eventually you're going to break up. Okay. And then you're going to look back and you're like, wow, I wasted 6 years of my life. Or you're going to say, wow, I wasted 8 years of my life. Yeah. Or not wasted, but like point B, like if you're stuck in it, I just feel like it's all on you. Like,
I think inevitably when you break up, you're going to find someone else or maybe not. And you'll just find self-happiness, which is amazing. And I think whenever you bask in that, you're going to be like, I could have had this, whether it's a relationship, whether it's just being happy on your own for so much longer than you had it. I think also currently right now you're comfortable, but I think comfortable very quickly turns into resentment. So I think before you even know it, if you stay in this, it's going to turn ugly quickly. So I think while you're comfortable and hopefully while you can amicably break up. And I think like it starts with a big bomb dropping conversation.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's like a one-time conversation and then it's done. I think it's like a lot of conversations leading up to a decision. But maybe also there are ways to like re-spark the love. I
was just gonna add that part in there. I do think like you don't always feel like you're in love, especially I'm not sure if you're married or not, but like love is just like, it's not feelings. Like you have to like choose to love someone too. Like
you also have to work at it.
You have to work at it. So like, I don't know how long you haven't felt like you're in love, or maybe you really know that like this is done. If you know it's fully done, then like you just need to get out. This is on you.
Yeah.
And that's not fair. But if this is like the first time the honeymoon vibes are off and now you're just like, you know.
What happened?
Yeah. I'm like, you got to put in some work.
Yeah, I agree. Well, thank you guys for submitting your questions. I hope we did answer them okay to help with you guys. I think we did pretty well, I would say.
I would think so too.
I
B
hope.
plus maybe?
I would give us a B. I guess an A minus.
Okay, A minus.
Thank you guys for listening to Pretty Basic. Don't forget to watch us on YouTube, check out our channel, and keep listening to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast.
We love you so much. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.